Hello and welcome to Craft and Chat. It's Tuesday, the 1st of April. Thank you so much for joining me today. I take it you have survived April Fool's Day. Not my favorite day of the year at all, but it was made very good today because I was crafting with my in-person card class this morning. So do let me know where you're joining from and if you can see and hear me clearly. I am just going to check on Facebook and YouTube and make sure I am live where I should be. It's always a bit of a worry that I didn't end up where I should be. So Facebook looks okay. And let's check YouTube. Let's have a look. Yes, I am live there as well. Hooray! And whilst I was checking where I was live, Tara arrived and Judy arrived. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Judy from Southern California and Tara's from Southport. Hello, hello. Lovely to see you today. So how are you? Let me know. I've as I said, I was at card class this morning, so we've been busy making cards this morning. I think my fingers have just about survived. I looked like a Smurf earlier. Several of the cards had really deep blue ink on them, and also I was busy cleaning the stamps. I got a bit inky. So my top tip always with Stampin' Up ink is to use a bar of soap. Liquid soaps, I don't know why, liquid soaps just don't cut it. But a bar of soap always works really well. So it's been a busy day this morning, or a busy morning this morning. Stampin' Up launched the retiring stroke last chance list for 2 catalogues today. Hang on, let me just grab them. So the mini catalogue and my hand's in the way, the annual catalogue. There are currently over 400 items on that list. So there isn't really a list. The best thing to do is to go onto my website and look for the things that you want, because some of the things are really heavily discounted. So they are going quickly, obviously, but also it's always difficult. Obviously Judy's here. She's in Southern California. I have people joining me from all over the world, and different markets have different products in the last chance list and different discounts. So Stampin' Up has 3 different regions really, but 3 different warehouses. So there's a warehouse in Utah, which covers America and Canada. There's a warehouse in Australia, which covers Australia and New Zealand. And then there's a warehouse in Germany that covers Germany, France, Austria, the Netherlands, Belgium, Ireland, and us in the UK. So depending on where you are in the world, depends what's in stock, what's out of stock. So it's always best to check. Michelle is here. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle helped me get all tidied up after card class this morning. So thank you very much for that. And Sue's here. Awesome. It is indeed sunny here, isn't it? So Portchester is sunny. Sunny here in Fareham. We need some rain though. So I don't know whether you can see. I've got a line here. I actually got sunburnt on Sunday. Mother's Day. I got sunburnt on Sunday. So we went out for a walk down the beach, had an ice cream, obviously, and then I was gardening. And clearly the sun was really strong because when I went to have a shower on Sunday evening and my hair was kind of slicked back and I've got this red line and it's like, so I've got makeup on trying to hide the sunburn. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. But we were trying to do gardening, and the reason I was out in the garden for so long was because the ground is like concrete. I actually don't remember the last time we had any decent amount of rain. Michelle and Sue, you're both local. I mean, we've had a few spats here and there, but we haven't had like a day of rain or anything, which is unusual for us here in the UK because it's normally raining. So there we go. Okay, so in the things I need to talk to you about today, there are quite a few things actually. So obviously there's a retiring list. I'm just going to talk to you about some of my favorite stamps that are going because I'm freaking out. When I've finished today, I'm going to go and take all my stamps off my shelves that are retiring because obviously I need to make space for the new ones coming, which I may have already. But equally, obviously they're retiring, so I need to put them into a different place. And some of my absolute favorite stamps are going. But because of the discounts, it's good. Now, Sue, I put your order in today. Where is it? There was a reduction, so I think it was 10%. So I will email you about that. But let's just go through Amanda's favorite stamp sets. So let's have a look. So when I'm talking about discounts, remember I'm only talking about the UK because in Europe we have French and German stamp sets and sometimes they're discounted differently. And obviously my North American friends and my South Pacific friends, you may have different things. But this stamp set is half price. It's got 50%. This is now £12.50. Everyday greetings. This one is half price. It's £10 now. More wishes. If I'd have been sensible, I would have put them in alphabetical order, but you know. Greetings of the season. Greetings of the season. Stamp set. Now £12. 50% off. Crafty Grove. Now £12.50. 50% off. If you buy this and the dies, I put it through for a customer this morning and it's £27 in total, which is crazy. Submarine Life, 50% off, £11.50. Sketched butterflies, yeah, 10% off. That's £22.50 now. Sparkling snowflakes. Sparkling snowflakes. I love this set. £9.50 now. 50% off. I've got 3 or 4 more to show you. Which, yeah, this one, More Wishes, 50% off, £12 now. Da-da-da. Labeled with Love stamp set, 50% off, £10. Keeping Tabs, 50% off, £9. 2 more to go. Hot air balloon stamp set, £9.50. That's 50% off. And then this one, we need to have a cry. Seriously, a cry about. I use this stamp set so much. I use that little happy birthday down there all the time. It is also 50% off, £11.50. Darn. Well, not darn, actually, because it means that our crafting pennies will go further. So actually, it's good. So I have orders going in most days. If your absolute best plan, though, is to place an order online, because you'll get it into your basket, you'll get it ordered, and you're not having to wait for me to answer emails and things. Okay, so Sue's saying she can't remember when it last rained either. I know, it's crackers. Scylla, hello. Scylla was with us this morning as well. And Judith is back. Yay! Judith, I am thrilled you are back and thrilled you're ready to join in again. It will be lovely to see you at card class, but it'll be lovely to see you online too. Yes, Sue, so you can keep using yours. So that is really good. So what I wanted to do today was to show you a stamp set. It's part of the online exclusives. And I'm just going to pull it up if I can. Yeah. So it's called Thankful Garden. And it is a stamp set, a set of dies, and a set of masks. Guess it hasn't cleaned her masks. And I just wanted to show you the way of combining the stamps and inks and so on together, but also my lovely customers who did my craft along in March. Yeah, where are we? April. Yeah, in March, we used this patterned paper, which is Lovely Garden, which is the matching paper to this bundle. So I just wanted to show you the papers because they are absolutely stunning. So you've got florals on one side and then you've got more sort of neutrals on the other. That's upside down. You've got tiny flowers And then this is one of my favorites, black and white. You've got that floral and polka dots, leaves, and tiny flowers. And then look at those huge flowers with a black and white grid on the back. And then the last one, we've got sort of yellow florals, yellow and cream florals, and then a black and white stripe. And it's a really stunning set of papers. Carol, hello. Connecticut, USA is in the house. And Maureen, hello. How are you? I have realised, actually, because our clocks went forwards, that's probably scuppered a few people, hasn't it? So in North America, my North American friends, your clocks went forward 2 weeks ago, I think. Daylight savings time or summertime. And ours went forward last week. Hi, Dino. So yeah, so I think that does confuse everybody, doesn't it? When we're going backwards and forwards time wise. Yeah, so it's 9:15. Yeah, in Connecticut. Yeah, so and here it's 2:15. So we're back to being 5 hours ahead again, which is fairly standard for the eastern part of the US. Okay, so let me get this camera turned around and we're going to play with these stamps and masks and make something pretty, hopefully. So let me just stop that camera, move that across, switch the camera about and start the camera again. Okay, so what we're going to do is I just need to play around with where everything is. So you're going to be able to see that. Move that paper out the way. Okay, so my first top tip for using any kind of stencils is to use some post-it tape or post-its or masking tape. But the issue with masking tape is sometimes it tears your paper. So you just have to be careful. This post-it tape is hideously priced, but it does exactly what it says on the tin and it never tears my paper. And I just use the pieces and I just keep using them until they lose their sticky. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to show you the stencils first because the stencils work really well independently. And that's a really nice thing. So you don't have to buy the stamps if you don't want to. You could just buy the stencils. Now, all of our stencils have, let me put that there, they have that little V shape. Can you see that? And then a number. Oh, look, I've got the reflection on it. So that is the order in which you should use them. That's the plan. Now, in an ideal world, you would clean them when you've used them. Don't be like Amanda and leave the ink on them, because what then happens is you get ink on the reverse, and that's not good. So there is the first image. Now, what I'm actually going to do is, because I know the flower builds this way, I'm actually going to work on my stencils like this. So I'm going to get a pencil, she says, famous last words, or a marker. And I'm just going to mark the little V shape. You can colour it in if you want to. But basically it means then that I can position the little V shape notch each time. And what I've got is fresh freesia, gorgeous grape and garden green. You can actually just do this with 2 colours, but I just like the pop of the gorgeous grape. So I've got blending brushes. Doesn't actually matter which size you use, and if you prefer sponge daubers, you can use sponge daubers. And all I'm going to do is just fill in the gap. And you can go as heavy or as light as you want. It's better to start out lighter and get darker each time. But because you're building up the ink anyway, it doesn't matter too much. So that's how quick your first layer is. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Then we go to layer number 2. So I'm just going to line up that V there. And then can you see, look, that's sort of offset. So that isn't the only thing that you're checking. Check that it's lined up with the image that you've got already. Because obviously as you move things about, you can end up going off on a bit of a tangent. So I'm using the same color. So fresh freesia, start off the stencil and then go over the top and just sort of fill in the gaps, really. The more you go over with the blending brush, the smoother the ink will look, because it does exactly what it says, which is blend, so it softens the edges. But just be careful to make sure that you're not getting the bristles up under the stencil. That can be a real problem, because if you do that, the whole point of the stencil is to mask areas off. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so that's the second layer. And you'll be amazed when you see how cool is that already. Then this is number 3. Now, as I said, you could absolutely use fresh freesia again, but I just really like the pop of the dark. So this is gorgeous grape, and it just adds a little bit extra depth. So that's that one. And just make sure when you're doing a colouring in, you're trying not to go over the edges. Yeah, you can see, look, I've just got a little bit there. But look how detailed this is now. So then we're going to number 4, which is the leaves. And this, the leaves and the stems, actually. This is obviously doing both flowers at once, which is really cool. I'm just going to hold it down Go over the top. And then we've just got the detailed image to go. There we go. So again, I'm using the same green, but obviously what it does is it just each layer of ink just gives you the additional detail. And there we go. So how cool are those flowers? So let's get them trimmed out. Now, obviously, I've just used a full sheet of cardstock here, but you could work on smaller pieces. The reason I tend to work on a bigger sheet is to give myself the ability to hold the paper down. If you're going to work on a smaller piece, you need to tape your smaller piece down as well. All right, so let's just trim that down. Come back to that in a second. And then that one. So how cool is that? So let's just make a couple of really quick cards with those. And then we will look more at the stamps. So let's just trim that down. Ta-da. Thank you, Carol. So that is 3.5, 4 3/4. Obviously, this took a bit longer because I'm chatting to you. If you were doing this yourself, you wouldn't be sort of talking through each process, would you? So the reality, oh, that's a bit wonky. The reality, hang on, let me just even that up a bit better. There we go. Yeah, the reality is it would be faster, wouldn't it? If you were doing it. So where's my, honestly, I'm going to be using this every day till it sells out. Not acceptable that they're getting rid of my favorite sets. Do they not? You know, I use this every day. Look. Okay. Let's just get this done. So super quick, super quick. And, you know, awesome for the post. They are flat. I will put probably some little gems on here. I didn't bring any into the office, so I will add some, or maybe some butterflies. We'll see. So that is just using the stencils, nothing else. Obviously, or what there is a stamp set. And when you look at the stamp set, which set is leaving? This one, Carol. This is the one that I use every day. It's that happy birthday. So this Thankful Garden stamp set is designed to go with the stencils. But when you look at this, you're thinking, well, okay, so there's the size of the image, the stenciled image. That's never going to work. But actually, the images, there's a tiny little bit of text down here. The images say they're at 75%. So these stamps are huge. Look, huge. So this is an F block, or is it an E? It's an E. It's an E block. So huge. Okay. So what I'm going to do first, covered in ink again, is just show you these and the dies, but then we're going to use the stamps and the stencils. So the dies, as always with Stampin' Up, we have all kinds of dies that go with all kinds of things. So we always need to explain which bits go with which. So it's a set of 12. So the first thing that makes the most sense is you've got the 2 dies that cut out the big flowers. You've then got these 2. Now, hang on, let me just undo that bit. Yeah, you've then got, I'm just going to gather these up together. You've then got these 2. And you're kind of looking, take care, Carol. You're looking at these and going, well, what are these for? Well, these are actually for cutting out a section of the flower. And I can never remember which bit it is. When I've stamped it in a minute, we'll find out which bit it is. And this is the same. It's to cut out one of the flowers. So it means then you can layer them. So that's what those 2 are for, but we'll come back to those when I've stamped. You've then got 2 decorative leaf pieces. So leaf dies are one of my most used dies ever, because you can just layer them under any floral and, you know, or cut flowers out of patterned paper, all that type of thing you can do. So in actual fact, they are the most used dies. And then this is the genius bit. You've got 3 dies that cut out that leaf and 3 dies that cut out that leaf. Genius, because who wants to have to cut 1 leaf out at a time when you can cut 3? So well done, Stampin' Up. So let's pop those in there. And those. And where's my Stampin' Map gone? It's there. Okay. Put that up. Oh, hi, Ali. So Ali said that she's late because she was engrossed in what she was making. What were you making, Ali, that kept you distracted? Tell us. Okay. So thank you, Judith. So I'm going to take the hydrangea stamp. I'm going to stamp it up in early espresso. So we're just going to do this one for now. Now look at the detail of that image. Now, obviously, I'm going to be using the stencils, but you could absolutely colour that in with your blends or your markers. If you stamp it in StazOn, you could watercolour it. If you heat embossed it, that would be super cool with lots of watercolouring on it as well. So the image itself is amazing. And what I'm going to do is grab some grid paper because I'm going to be putting the stencil down. And you remember I said about this die? So let's play match up the dies. Da, da, da. I would imagine it. I would say I would have thought it was that one. Oh, maybe. No? I don't know. Found it. You see, I knew I'd figure it out. There we go. Look. And my guess is if you cut that out a few times, you can layer it over multiple bits. Obviously, that's a bit wonky, but that's how it's designed. And actually, that one will be easy because there's only 2 flowers. It can only be one or the other. Okay, so let's get the stencils back. So like I said, so you've got a million, you've got a lot of different ways that you could colour this in. But let's use the masks. Now, when I first did this, it took me forever to figure out which bit went where. So I know, where's my pen gone? I know that it goes at a downwards angle. So I'm losing my words today. The mask has to go on on a slope. And if you stamp the flower straight and put this on a slope, you'll match it up. So that's kind of the angle of the slope. So can you see? If I bring this up to the camera, should be able to see. Can you see? That's the slope. Believe you me, you need to know that because I spent hours going around, couldn't figure it out, and then magically found it. Okay, so how cool is that? So we're going to get the fresh freesia. So I'm going to do it exactly the same as before. This time, actually, I am not going to keep re-inking, I'm just going to kind of use what is on my brushes. That's number one. That is number two. And I don't know whether you've noticed, but I haven't put my little V shape on, basically because I know that I can actually see where this needs to go because I've got the stamped image. Thanks, Judith. Oh, Ali was making a 40th, hang on, a 40th birthday card and box, concertina type. Very fancy. Okay, so that's the second layer. That's the third layer. So this is the blending brush that's got gorgeous grape on it. How cool is that? Just makes everything pop. And then that's 5. So where is... Ooh. I've lost some leaves. They're hidden away. Let's just pop that down. Ooh, I was a bit off. I was a bit too... I was a little bit too eager then. Nobody will notice. You won't tell, will you? Yeah, so maybe maybe what we learn from this, Amanda, is you need to put your little V shape on. Okay. But look. Oh, how cool is that? So you can imagine, obviously, if you then cut that out and layer. So what I'm actually going to do is, let me just show you what we can actually do. Is obviously that can be cut out with the die, but I don't have my die cutting machine here. So I'm just going to fussy cut it really quickly. And I know, honestly, I should use the dies. I should bring, I've got several cut and emboss machines because obviously I use them for classes. So I could leave one up here. But I always worry that when I move the things for the classes into somewhere else in my craft room, then I forget them. And Sue and Judith and Michelle and anyone else who has been to classes with me, they will all tell you me forgetting things is quite a regular occurrence. So, so me trying to keep everything in one place makes more sense. Ah, yeah, Donna, sorry. Yeah, so well, we've gone spring forward, Donna. So I don't know which way round it is, but our clocks went forward an hour. All I know is it was Mother's Day on Sunday, and we got an hour's less sleep, which doesn't seem to be fair somehow, really. But you know. But I think everyone's clocks have all changed now. Donna, have yours changed? Because you're going into autumn, aren't you? So, or are you in autumn? Because ours now don't change again till October. So if you're watching me going, Amanda, what are you doing? Why are you fussy cutting? Fussy cutting because my die cutting machine's downstairs. Look. But it's just so cool. So have I got? I'm just trying to decide which way around to go with the colours. Hi, Sandy, catching me live for the first time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. And I appreciate if you catch me live for the first time, that suggests that you've watched me on the replay, which is very cool as well. So let's have a look. 3.5 by 4.25. Let's just get this layered up. Thanks, Donna. Right, so let's see. So that needs texture. Do you ever look at a project and go, bit flat? So this needs texture. But what I am going to do, I'm just going to stamp some leaves. We've got these lovely little leaves in here. And I'm rummaging around. I've got so much stuff everywhere and nothing is where it should be. So let's just do a little leaf border here. See if that matches. There we go. See. Oh, Ali's saying how she wishes that they would leave the clocks alone. I know. It's one of those things, isn't it? That it just kind of disrupts so many different things. But I understand if the lighter mornings or the lighter evening, I don't know. I don't even know why they now change the clocks. It used to be to do with farming and all sorts of things like that. So I don't know why they still do it, but they do. When we had dogs, it was just, that was always the worst, because their tummies tell them when it's dinner time. So let's have a look. Okay, so that is working. So I'm actually going to build my leaves all the way down the sides now. And then that's going to have texture. And then that's going to be lifted up. And then I'm going to use this stamp again. Can you tell I'm miffed that Stampin' Up is taking my favourite stamp away? It's not on. It's not on. You know, and because here in Europe, it's actually half price. Chances are it's not going to make it for the next 24 hours, you know. So let's just do that. Do that. And you're going to have to come over to my blog to see this finished card. Because I've got to put the texture on, because it needs it. How cool is that? Honestly, you could just do a whole background of that and it would be perfect, wouldn't it? I was saying that the kids don't help with the harvest anymore. I know. Exactly. Right. That's so cool. Okay. Let's do the happy birthday. Oop. That's just so wonky. Yep. Put it on there. Let's just try and tidy that up a little bit. Honestly, it is wonky. Straight's overrated, but sometimes things are really too wonky, even for me. Okay. So it's going down. So I might use Distress Tile, which has been my favourite embossing folder. I haven't even looked to see what embossing folders are going. Or I might use Eyelet 3D, which looks like broderie anglaise, which is it's really lovely. We'll use that today on the card. On one of the cards. There we go. So that is going to go sort of there, and that's going to go on an angle. So I'm gonna get rid of all the debris and pretend that this is not chaos. I'm bringing those other cards. So you can see how pretty this is just using the stencils, but how much more detailed it is combining it with the stamps. So I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to put some little gems in there. And then that's the other image. Okay, so Sue's saying, does Stampin' Up ever reinstate stamps if enough people complain or comment about favourites going? So my initial thought was no, they don't. But actually, I think it was for the 25th anniversary. So we must be going back 10 years probably. They did a range of favorites that come back. So they had like a limited release of favorites that came back. So that was really cool. The Stampin' Up's reason for ever getting rid of things is usually because the sales kind of fall off for a particular set. Or they've got something else coming out that is like a more modern take on whatever it is. So it's always worth letting Stampin' Up know your feelings. Because if lots of people say, we really want that back, and it works with colours. Absolutely, works with all sorts of things, to be fair. But colours, so strawberry slush is back this year as a new in colour, but it's not new at all. And Pretty in Pink, that came back. So it's an interesting phenomena. It's always worth asking. And, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Sandy's from Cedar City in Utah. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Michelle. And Scylla's saying, yes, gems would be good. Yes, I think gems would always be good. So we will get those put on there. And then these cards, I will put them all on my blog and send them out. So if you're on my mailing list, I always send out the replay for Craft and Chat. So let me just pop my website up. Chances are, if you found me, you already know what my blog is, www.inspiringinkin.com. But if you don't, it's just there. And if you click on there, there's like a sign-up sheet for a newsletter, email newsletter. You are welcome to join that email newsletter wherever you are in the world. I can only sell Stampin' Up products to you if you are in the UK, Ireland, France, Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, or Belgium. But for my international friends, I do have international Stampin' Up demonstrator friends who would be very happy to help you with purchasing in America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So if you are wanting to shop from any of those countries, you can always email me. Let me put my email address on. Let's do that instead. Because then if you email me, then I can send your details on and somebody will be very happy to help. So let's check the comments. Jill's saying she's never brought any masks, but I'm tempting her. So honestly, Jill, I was never really a mask fan either. But these are so easy to use. The little notch and the numbers. So can you see it's number 4 there? It just makes it so easy. And all you have to do is, I'm just going to take them to the sink now and just run them under the tap. And then I just leave them to dry on the draining board. So, you know, they're fine. This one's Dino's favourite. Thank you, Donna. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will be back here in 2 weeks. That is the 15th of April. I'm saying that with a question mark in my head. It must be the 15th because it's 2 weeks from today. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. Do let me know if you've got any questions or if I can help with anything. And I hope you have a great couple of weeks, and I will see you all again soon. Take care. Goodbye.